Hey, what's good, everybody? Checking out an all-new RCWR show covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond. Since 2011, Lee Sanders here, columnist, reporter for 411mania.com. Gotta make sure I'm always plugging that a lot more. Half the damn time I always forget to plug that at the beginning for you guys. Hey, hope your week is going off to a fantastic start. And wherever you are, I hope the weather is being kind. Here on the East Coast in the DC metropolitan area, we are dealing with some frigid weather right now. We've had to push our heater the past 2 weeks, not just in the Sanders household. I'm talking about as far as DC, Maryland, Virginia residents in general. I mean, we got a nice, good, strong cold front we've been dealing with for the past 2 weeks now. I think it's either Wednesday or Thursday we're actually going to see a day that gets as high as 71. Can you believe that? 71 in the middle of November. Yo, I ain't complaining. I'll take it. Honestly, I will freaking take it. Appreciate you guys that's taking time out checking out this episode, be it live or you're going to be checking this out for on demand and on the downloads. We're talking about this week's NWA Power for November 16th of 2021 as it was their Power Surge edition. Yeah, Power Surge edition. Now, sometimes, as we've seen in the past, these Power Surge episodes, it's a bit of hit and miss. But this week, as I mentioned during the pre-show Yakety Yak, they actually did a pretty good Power Surge episode overall. So we'll get into the quick results here, give you guys some, general thoughts in some key areas where needed. But we definitely got some NWA news we need to be talking about. Something that I've yet to speak upon that I'm only going to be talking about here on this show are the remarks that Tony Khan had made recently that's been catching some waves. And sadly, when that news initially broke out, we pretty much were done with shows for the week, as the next time I came on the air, it was for the Full Gear pay-per-view, and then we did the 10th anniversary show, the 10th anniversary edition of the RCWR show, celebrating our 10 years doing podcasting and everything. So I didn't get a chance to talk about. I think you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, but yeah, we'll save that for later. So look, matches that we got for this week, 5 matches overall. Every single one of these matches had a little bit of something for everybody, honestly. That's how I honestly legit looked at this card we got for this week. Some good stuff. Opening up, we got JTG taking on Slice Boogie. I love Slice Boogie. I am such a fan of Slice Boogie. You know who he reminds me of, and I don't know if a lot of you guys have been picking up the same elements as well, but for me personally, he reminds me a lot of Eddie Kingston. Okay, let's picture Eddie Kingston just a little more slimmer, a little leaner, and can move even quicker in the ring. That's who Slice Boogie reminds me a lot of. And I tell you what, call me a sucker, call me a dreamer, but I personally would love to see, under the right circumstances, Slice Boogie and Eddie Kingston, whether it be as a tag team or it is them feuding with one another. I would love to see something along those lines. I definitely want to see the two of them do some type of a collaboration. And for you guys that know your wrestlers and all that, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you guys kind of felt that I'm on to something there with Boogie and Kingston. But a good opener for Power Surge, JTG against Slice Boogie. Closing moments of this matchup, Slice Boogie tried to go up to the top rope, but then all of a sudden, whatever high-risk maneuver he was looking for, Colby Corino comes in there. And remember, off and on these past couple of weeks, we've seen this somewhat odd alliance, if you will, mutual, I don't know what you want to call it, but this ain't the first time we've seen Colby and JTG kind of bounce off of each other here. But Colby Corino called himself trying to interfere in this, and he pays for it big time as Slice Boogie just came swinging wildly with a right arm. Didn't connect. JTG comes up from behind, gets a roll up. It's only a near fall, though, as the match had pretty much continued afterwards. From there, we saw, of all people, Saul Renaro. Saul Renaro had did a spot where he ended up taking out Colby Corino, but then he goes up to the top rope. He's trying to do something, and as all this pandemonium is going on, Slice Boogie took him forever. Felt like an eternity before he finally turned around to see that Saul Renaro was looking to do something, and he pretty much derailed him from there. And yeah, pretty much after that, this match was over and done with. The ref barely able to get control of this matchup, as we just ended up seeing all four men just duking it out with each other. Referee just went on ahead, threw this match out. For what it was worth, though, JTG against Slice Boogie, I loved it. I honestly loved it. For me, what was one of the greatest highlights, even though it was very brief, was just watching the great grappling / mat work of JTG. I mean, he damn near was running circles around Slice Boogie's head. Honestly, I love what I was seeing from him, but at the same time, I also love how Slice Boogie came on back. It was one of those deals where Slice Boogie is essentially going, okay, it's obvious my man over here is a little bit more of an in-ring veteran than I am. He's got the moves. He knows he's sexy. No, I'm kidding. But he's got more moves than what I can do. I'm just going to get this guy where I can get him the most, where I know I'll win. I'll just go the dirty route. And we saw him do a little shady, dirty tactics here and there. So, but no, good opener there between those. You know, kind of weird what we had that panned out here at the end, because it almost seemed as though, even though Slice Boogie and JTG, they were looking to prove who the better man was in this one-on-one match, and essentially it got interrupted by Saul and Colby. Now it's a case here where JTG Slice kind of, okay, let's put our differences to the side here and beat these two jabronis up for poking their noses here in our business. You just can't help but kind of look at that and go, okay, so where are we going with this? It almost kind of feels like down the road, or maybe in the immediate future, we're going to be seeing JTG and Slice Boogie as a tag team, and maybe they want to extract some type of revenge against Colby and Saul for interfering, and maybe once they can put that in the rearview mirror, get back to having that one-on-one match that they were trying to do. I mean, if that's the route we're going to be going eventually, hey, I'm down for that. Kiera Hogan picked up a victory over Kenzie Page. Kenzie Page, fresh off of that match against Camille for the NWA Women's Championship. Remember, that was a 2 out of 3 falls match where we saw Camille decisively go over. I mean, it wasn't a total squash. There was a little bit of solid offense there from Kenzie Page, but Kenzie Page pretty much fresh from that losing effort against Kiera Hogan. Kiera Hogan picking up the dub. Nice, pretty bridge with pin attempt that she connected right there. Honestly, didn't have a problem with the length of the match, because this episode of Power Surge actually ran about 43 minutes. Yeah, 43 minutes plus. So these girls got the right amount of time to go in here and, work their magic, put in the time necessary. It was good. It was actually good. Do you want to pick my brain on whether or not I feel the right woman went over in this matchup? Yeah, I actually feel the right woman went over, because I just still feel, and it's weird because it's been a couple of weeks now since we've seen Kiera Hogan and Mickie James have that match and everything. So I think this was definitely the right way to go, having Kiera pick up the victory, assuming that her story arc is still ongoing here, because she's been coming off a little bit nutty within recent weeks. I don't mean hot mess Chelsea Green nutty, but just kind of, I don't know, maybe a Randy Orton, she's hearing voices in her head or something, right? She's thinking one thing and in reality is actually the opposite. So, but I'm hoping that we're not quite done with her and Mickie James, because I've actually been liking what's been going on with the two of them. I know right now Mickie James is currently the Impact Knockouts Women's Champion and everything. And I think that's pretty good. Nice little cross-branding that we got going on there. By the way, I'm most curious to see in the coming weeks how Mickie James, as the new Knockouts champion, is going to translate over on NWA, given her role and everything. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen with that. Because remember, and we'll get into it a little bit later on, but NWA, pretty soon, they're going to be having a series of tapings that's going to be going down. We'll get into it in just a hot little bit there. But nice little fun matchup for what it was worth between both of these girls. For what it was worth. Next up, now this next one I actually was really into, and that is Melina taking on Sky Blue. Many of you all know how much of a big fan I am. A longtime fan of definitely Melina, but I am still relatively a newcomer when it comes to Sky Blue. But as I've said to you guys off and on the past couple of months, I'm definitely a big fan of her work, right down to the point I can't remember who it was Sky Blue faced. I wouldn't be surprised if you were to tell me it was Jade Cargill, but I remember Sky Blue having some match on AEW. I don't know if it was on Rampage or if it was on Dynamite, but I just remember how poor little Sky Blue did not have barely any offense whatsoever. It feels like maybe it was on an episode of Rampage, but I could be wrong. I only say Rampage because it feels as though I might have wrote something up about Sky Blue. And so that's why I wouldn't be surprised if it was Rampage. But I remember how that was just what the hell? And I remember some of the people that were commenting on my review for that week's episode had said, yeah, definitely see where you're coming from, Lee. Totally in agreement. She should have got a little bit more offense in there. So to see Sky Blue in this nice one-on-one matchup against veteran and Melina, I thought Sky Blue held herself up pretty damn well. Honestly, I thought she did pretty good. There was a couple of spots that were a little, but I got to give mad props to Melina. Like one spot in particular that really caught my eye. Now, look, if it turns out it was actually nothing, okay, cool, right? Maybe I might have overanalyzed this, but I remember there was one spot that went down where Sky Blue, I believe, is coming off of the ropes, and she was looking for some type of maybe an arm drag takedown of Molina, and Molina did not sell it. And the way that she didn't sell it, it wasn't one of those, nah, F you, I'm not doing that. It was almost one of those, hey, no, that's not what's supposed to happen. And we just saw this weird sequence where Sky Blue was about to go for this arm drag. She did try to attempt it, and when she didn't feel Melina was going with the flow, she just did this weird matrix, just pretty much kind of bending herself like a pretzel on the mat there, knees bent and all of that. And there was you got to watch it for yourself. It was a nice little sequence that went down, and I thought that was kind of cool. You know, Melina pretty much being the in-ring veteran there, kind of leading the way, helping Sky Blue out and everything. She made Sky Blue, honestly, she did not embarrass Sky Blue by any stretch. I don't want you guys thinking that way just because I told you what I had told you. No, she actually did a real good job protecting Sky Blue and making her come off pretty good. Because look, when it's all said and done, I've said for a couple of months now, some of you guys have shared the same sentiments as well. Sky Blue, definitely a good up-and-comer there for the women's division. Definitely somebody you want to have your eyes on. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Sky Blue might have been involved at the big event in New York over the weekend. I kind of feel as though maybe I saw some pictures of her floating around that people were able to take with her over the weekend. So FYI. Good matchup though between Melina and Sky Blue. Melina picking up the victory makes all the sense in the world because ultimately it's going to be Camille, Melina, Hard Times 2 for the NWA Women's Championship. No problem with Molina continuing to build up a little bit of steam going into that because we're a couple of weeks out from that. Molina winning via submission. Man, Molina's submission game. Yo, that joint is vicious. That joint is vicious. I'm loving it. That California Nightmare submission hold of hers, I'm digging that. I am sincerely digging that. Love that shit. Oh, damn. I can't believe I almost have forgot about this too. Let me go ahead real quick here. Your man over here actually forgot to blast the show out on social media. So let me actually just real quick, and then we'll continue on with the show here. Let me update this, and now let's go ahead and connect. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I had did that already, and I just happened to be looking at the page for the social media plugs, and I don't know why I never clicked in my head, but yeah, anyway, so yeah, good matchup between those. Joe Galley, shout out to Joe Galley, by the way. I had no clue. Apparently this month is No Shave November. Totally forgot about that. So I'm definitely keeping my beard a bit longer. I've been pushing my beard now for a couple of years, and true story, I actually was going to shave it all off this week. I just felt like, you know, it's time. I've had this long enough. I'm ready to go commando. But now that I know that, I always forget, I don't know how, but usually I forget about No Shave November. So, not that I shave that much anyway, but usually during the month of November, I actually usually shave. So now that I know that, I'm definitely going to be ditching the razor at least a little bit longer. Let's see. Joe Galley. I was talking about Joe Galley. He happened to reveal that there's going to be a new NWA show, a new series that's going to be premiering very soon, and the tapings for this show is going to begin on December 3rd. So we don't have any other information right now about this new series. So as far as my thoughts, see, I could just easily say that, and we can just, you know, subscribe. We could easily just go that route. But no, for me personally, remember what I had said off and on for a couple of months now, which is, hey, I hope that, you know, we can eventually get a NWA show that, you know, why we just gotta sit on NWA Power. How about it be a situation where we get 2 NWA shows during the week? I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was something that I was very passionate about several months back, and still very passionate about here and now. So to hear that there's going to be a new NWA series that's going to be going down, I'm ecstatic for that. I legit am. Whether this is going to be a show that's going to be more focused on the women's division, or maybe it'll be a recurring theme. Maybe the theme will be, you know, one show will be about the women's division, the next show will be about the tag division, the next show will be about up and comers, or, you know, I'm all for a new series. You know, I mean, it's a win-win situation when it's all said and done. So I'm looking forward to getting more information about this new series they're going to be doing. Black G's defeated Captain Yuma. Okay, little match. Oh, okay, match. We got a recap of Mike Knox attacking Trevor Murdoch after the conclusion of By Any Means Necessary. So you guys got to remember that, because I know we were here. I'm trying to think for By Any Means Necessary. Yeah, you know what? We did the Jericho cruise, if I remember right. Well, wait a minute, because there was something that went down. No. By Any Means Necessary, that was part 1 of 2 pay-per-view event. We did cover both of those. Sorry about that. It's just they blend after a while. Yeah, after the conclusion of By Any Means Necessary, I did not know anything about Mike Knox coming in there and doing what he did to Trevor Murdoch. I did not know any of that was going down. I think by the time that footage was shared, I think that footage was actually shared by the NWA on their respected outlets the next day or something along those lines. So, look, Mike Knox, he's now involved with NWA. I mean, for me, I need a little bit more. I mean, that has my curiosity, definitely. It's got my curiosity up. But I need to see a little bit more in regards to this. I'm not knocking it. I'm not throwing any shade on it or anything like that. Look, not for nothing, but I remember Mike Knox's tenure in the WWE. And I just, of all the people that I felt, you know what, this guy's definitely very, very promising. This guy's got something special here. I definitely felt that a guy like Mike Knox was someone you definitely did not want to be sleeping on and everything. So I remember his whole run in ECW. I remember the stuff that was going on with the brand switches and all that. The stuff with aces and eights, I did not particularly care for that whatsoever. So, as far as I'm concerned, he's good. He's pretty damn good in my book, but I need to see more because for me personally, it's been some years since I've seen Mike Knox. I'm sure it's probably been a good minute for many wrestling fans that has seen Mike Knox. I mean, not for nothing, but pretty much once he was done with TNA, because remember, TNA, that was in Aces and Eights. That was in the teen 2000s. We're talking like somewhere between 2012, 2013. That whole Aces and Eights stuff had went down. And then you had that other stable that he was in, the the Mangerie or something like that he was part of. And then after he was done with TNA, I know he did some stuff with the Inoki Federation, and pretty much after that, as far as I know, he's pretty much been relatively quiet. So, I need to see, where he's at. I need to get him on the microphone and spitting them bars out there. I got to see all of that. So it's still early for me, but the fact that we've basically got him coming in and he's posing this instant mega threat to Trevor Murdoch's championship reign and all that, my eyebrow is raised a little bit. I am a little bit curious. I want to see a little bit more. Main event match of tonight's NWA Power Surge, Pharaoh and Odison, a.k.a. The End, taking on father and son, Luke and PJ Hawx Aerie. Billy Corgan was on commentating. I always like when we got Billy Corgan on commentating. He actually flows pretty damn good with Joe Gallion, though. That's just me personally. I don't know how you guys personally feel about that, but I actually like when Billy's doing color commentating. This tag match was the tag team tournament finals, where whoever won this advances to take on La Rebellion for the NWA tag titles at the Hard Times 2 pay-per-view coming up in December. So, nice tag match for what it was worth. Guys went about, I would say minus the entrances and all, I would say this one went about 11, maybe almost 12 minutes. I'm trying to think. It was The End, and The End picked up the victory. I'm okay with that. Me personally, I would have actually preferred to see father and son take on La Rebellion. I would have preferred that. But you know what? I'm all right. I'm all right with The End picking up the dub. I just know, see, this is where I was coming from. Either team against La Rebellion is going to be a phenomenal matchup. But the fact that we're going with the veterans here in The End that's going to go on to face La Rebellion, I mean, I think that's just going to even be more kick-ass. You feel where I'm coming from? It's going to be even more kick-ass. So, this could have went either way, honestly, and I think most fans would have been okay with the result because there's really no right or wrong right here. But if we're talking about, we're trying to sell a pay-per-view, then in this particular case, you got to give the slight edge more so to Pharaoh and Odinson, right? So, but a good tag match. Somewhere down the road, though, between you and me, guys, I personally would love to see Hawx Aerie become a tag team set of champions. That's just me personally. And that pretty much was it for NWA Power Surge for this week in a nutshell. Solid episode. Some of these Power Surges can be a little hit and miss sometimes. This one was pretty well thought out, well executed. I definitely got to give Billy Crew and them, the producers, I got to give them a lot of props for what they did with this episode this week. Now, as far as NWA news goes, not that much, but three main things I want to get into, and they're not long-winded. The first thing I want to get into is the news about WWE Hall of Famer Madusa. In case you guys have not heard anything about this, Madusa is actually joining NWA. She is on board, and she is going to be working with the NWA behind the scenes. Now, some of you guys may recall from our NWA Powerrr pay-per-view post-show recap, I mentioned how Madusa was in the house, and, Awesome Khan came back. I mean, it was a great pay-per-view. You got a little bit of money floating around. I would highly encourage you to check it out if you didn't get a chance to check it out. But Madusa did a little cameo there at Powerrr. So pretty much stemming from that, looks like Madusa is going to be working behind the scenes in the NWA. She posted on her Instagram earlier today. So this is how fresh the news gets. We're trying to give it to you in real time as best as we can here. But yeah, it's going to be a backstage role, and in addition to a few more surprises that are in the works, apparently. And I'll share with you what she said on Instagram. It's not that long, but I can definitely burn through this. She says, and I quote, "It is with great honor to share a huge announcement. This news is exciting on so many different levels. Number one, working with NWA, it's not only an honor, it is rich with history and integrity as a bloodline into our business that spreads across the world's most talented and amazing talent. Thank you, Billy and Pat. Number two, it is with distinct pleasure to work alongside the hungry, upcoming, tenacious talent and groundbreaking legends. Number three, according to me and anyone out there that loves entertainment, NWA is a beast within their own, creating a whole new platform, style, and keeping pro wrestling history alive and intact. Plus, yours truly is teaming up with NWA and will be working behind the scenes with helping talent and a few more surprises intermediately. I cannot wait, and it's going to be exciting returning to Atlanta to see some incredible wrestling and amazing stories be told. Who is with me on this? What would you like to see? What kind of matches intrigue you? And what makes you, as a fan, want to watch wrestling? Is it a great promo? Would you like to see stables being born and brought back? Would you like to see a woman manager at ringside with the power of the microphone? What kind of feuds would intrigue you? I am about the fans and what they like. We are open to hear your response. Keep your eyes peeled on all my social medias. More information launching everywhere. So, I mean, fantastic news personally. And I'm really, really happy for Madusa because I've been a fan of Madusa's for many years, and it was a great honor to see her and hear her as part of the Talk is Jericho panel on the state of women's wrestling at the Jericho Cruise. I actually saw it and it was great. I actually have the audio recording of that Talk is Jericho, as well as the audio for the Talk is Jericho Kurt Angle edition. And I actually reached out to Chris Jericho's people to see if it was okay if I could maybe release sound bites or release the audio in its entirety on my respective platforms, but of course giving credit where credit is due and everything. And I was told that no, we actually would prefer it if you did not release those audios, as those are going to be slated in for future episodes of Talk is Jericho. So it was kind of like, but hearing Madusa particularly, the biggest vibe that I got back from Madusa on that Talk is Jericho panel is that she is still looking to give back to the business. She still wants to pay it forward. She still wants to help out wherever, whenever. So for an opportunity like this to pretty much, I'm ecstatic for her. I'm really, of any company that can tap into her services. I always felt that maybe WOW would have eventually done something with, but now that we kind of see they're pretty much going the AJ Lee route and everything, isn't that kind of cool when you just think about where we are right now in regards to our women's divisions in 2021 and beyond? You think about the fact that when you look at AEW, you pretty much got good, strong women like Ruby Soho, Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb. That's pretty much, that strength for the AEW women's division behind the scenes and everything. And then you go and you look at NWA, and we now got Madusa. You look at WOW Women of Wrestling, and you've got Tessa Blanchard, you've got Selena Majors, and you've got AJ Lee, AJ Brooks, right? So you just look at all of that you got going on. I just think that's pretty freaking badass on so many levels personally. So good shit. I can't wait to see what Madusa's got in store. But I mean, that's a great 1-2 punch when you really take a step back and you think about it, because you've got Mickie James and you've got Madusa doing their parts respectfully with the women's division and then some in the NWA. Bona fide win-win situation, man. Nothing but good things can come from out of that. Nothing but good things can come from out of that. NWA announced their first taping for their new upcoming series, as well as the Hard Times 2. So mark this down on your calendars for those of you that's going to be in the Atlanta, Georgia area, December 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. I'm going to give those dates to you one more time in case those of you are going to be doing some traveling, or you know some friends that's going to be doing some traveling in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Again, December 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. You can get a hold of some tickets for a lot of those NWA shows, as they're going to be doing their tapings at the GPB Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. And tickets are available for a pretty damn good steal, honestly. So act on that if you're having to find yourself in the area. One last thing I want to get into, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is NWA related. I'm only going to be talking about it on here. I'm not going to be repeating it on other shows because it's directly tied to NWA. Again, we didn't get a chance to talk about this last week because the last show that we put out was on a Wednesday, and then I wasn't back with you guys until the Full Gear pay-per-view and then our 10th anniversary show. So somehow in between the cracks, this story did not make it to those shows. But Tony Khan, when he was doing the full media blitz for Full Gear, he was asked a question about AEW and, if they pretty much saw themselves somewhere down the road, maybe investing in a all-women's pay-per-view. And the person that was throwing the question at him, she sounded very lovely. She sounded as if she knew her shit. She knew what she was talking about and everything. And Tony Khan rudely interrupted her. Now, according to her, apparently as soon as the media conference call was over, he made sure that she stuck around as he directly apologized to her and all that. And I think that was pretty classy on his part. I thought that was pretty good on his part, honestly. Way to man up and, okay, man, I fucked this up, right? So, I mean, that's good and everything. But the stuff that he had said when he had cut her off and everything. So, basically, this all has to do with NWA Powerrr. And Tony Khan feels as though he did not get the proper respect he felt he deserves, as he essentially assisted with supplying the talent for that respected pay-per-view. Here's what he said, and I quote here, "I don't feel like I get enough credit for what I did for the NWA show, because a good number of people that were on the NWA show were wrestlers that I sent and paid. So I do think I contributed, because the highest paid wrestlers on the show were people that I paid separately from what they already make in AEW to go on that show. I don't think they did a very good job telling people that, honestly. Even though it wasn't part of the deal we did, I wish they would have told more people that, because it was one of the points I made when we closed it." So wait a minute. Let's just go back a second here. Which one is it? Because it almost kind of sounds as though one is talking out of both sides of their mouth. So let's just go back here one more time. Even though it wasn't part of the deal we did. Now, to that point, that's where I got to do a little bit of probing. And just to clarify that, I asked the question. Now, when you're saying even though it wasn't part of the deal you all had, we're talking about you getting your 5 seconds of fame for that plug. I mean, because that's how it kind of comes off to me. There's a couple of ways you can interpret it that, but that's the first joint I'm going towards. I don't know about you guys. I wish they would have told more people that, because it was one of the points I made when we closed it. Okay, when they made the deal. I think it would be nice if you told people, because it's a big contribution from me. Does that make sense? So I did pay the wrestlers for the all-women NWA event. So yeah, it's kind of like when you pay for dinner and nobody thanks you. And I got to tell you, very seldom have I said anything negative about Tony Khan. Very, very seldom. You know me, if you checked out the show long enough. When praise needs to be given, I give praise. When it's time to get on that ass, as far as that constructive criticism and feedback goes, I'm there. This was one of those rare instances here where I did not like the limelight he was painting himself in, as he made himself come off like a smug asshole. Even if what he's saying is the truth. There's a way that you go about conducting your business. Look, I can only go but so far and so many times saying, he's a young man. He's still growing into this. We got to give him a little bit more time, yada, 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 yada. I can only go but so far and so long. You going with that analogy, going with that excuse, basically. Okay. I'm like this, if I had any advice to give to a promoter like a Tony Khan, and I'm sure he probably, hopefully, he's got a good person or two or three that's in his ear and giving it to him right between the eyes. And it's, you can't do that. You got a problem with somebody, handle your business behind closed doors, pick up the phone, man to man, call them up. It shouldn't have got to this point. You feel where I'm coming from? It shouldn't have got to this point where he's feeling like, okay, you're supposed to be promoting Full Gear, and you're being asked about, hey, what do you think about maybe a future AEW All Women's pay-per-view? Even if you felt that was a great opportunity for you to say, oh, by the way, I didn't get my flowers for what I did helping out NWA, right? If Billy Corgan wanted to, Billy Corgan could pretty much go tick for tat, and he pretty much could be like, okay, did you see me bitching up a storm when you pretty much were able to get Thunder Rosa away from me? Did you see me, bitching when, you guys did blah, 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 right? So, it's like, if you're Tony Khan, there's a right way to do business. When it gets to that point where you are just that hot-headed, you're that up to here, it's really time for you to get that shit off your chest, pick up the phone, and call somebody. It should never get to that point. So I was quite taken back by that. I really, really was, because by all accounts, everybody's got nothing but good things to say about Billy Corgan and all that. So he seems very approachable, from what I've kind of gathered and everything, talking to a couple of people and all that. So I just found that to be very baffling. And right down to the point, I couldn't help but when I heard the audio. I don't know if you guys heard the audio of Tony Khan putting this out there. Listen to the audio. Does not come off good. When I'm first hearing this, I'm thinking three things. I'm thinking, number one, is he going in character mode here? Number two, is he off his meds? Did he forget to take his bipolar meds or something? Number three, I'm going like, okay, this got to be a joke. It's got to be a joke. Not good. Not good whatsoever. Other than that, that pretty much has been it as far as NWA news goes. It's pretty much been quiet otherwise, but I told you guys there was some nice little news that we were able to share there with you guys. Now, as far as the NWA's Hard Times 2 main event, we do know what the main event is going to be. Here's your matches so far. We got the television championship as Tyrus defends against Scion. We got the women's championship as Camille defends against Melina Perez. And in your main event match, Trevor Murdoch will be defending that 10 pounds of gold heavyweight championship there against Mike Knox. So that's what we know as of today. And that pretty much was revealed yesterday as far as some of the matches that's going to be happening at Hard Times 2. So, but yeah, relatively quiet otherwise. So, pretty good, nice little loaded up episode. Told you guys we were going to get into a little bit of everything here today. So we're at about the, when I get done editing this, I think we're going to be at about the 42-minute mark, 43-minute mark. So we'll go ahead and end it right here, which is good. Now, if you're looking for Monday's RCWR show, the audio version, that's actually going to be released for on demand and on the downloads within the next hour or less. The webcast version is available on the YouTube channel and on other outlets for those of you guys that are curious. Meanwhile, your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you on Wednesday night, November 17th. 2021. We'll be live at 10 p.m. Eastern after Dynamite goes off the air. We'll talk about Dynamite. We'll go over key points from this week's NXT. Also dive into a little bit of wrestling, non-wrestling related news. So that's going to be a nice, fun show. Shout out to our supporters of the show. You all know exactly who you are. Shout out to our sponsors. Be kind. Rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And do hit that subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, so you don't miss out on all the great content that comes your way. And you leave those likes. When you guys leave those likes, it really helps a ton. It's free to do, and it helps a ton as far as pushing our content out there a lot more for other people to check out with these. Thanks. Appreciate it. And until next go round, wishing all of y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Peace, y'all.